The winter night has settled over old fields and quiet hills. Snow rests on the roofs like folded wool. The moon hangs pale. The wind is a breath against timber and stone. The village keeps still. The castle on the ridge keeps watch. The paths between them lie soft and white. It is a slow hour, a calm hour, a resting hour. The land holds its breath, the sky holds its light. The night is kind. Wooden doors are shut, shutters are closed. Smoke lifts in thin and sleepy lines. A faint glow stays behind the slats. Within each house, a hearth gives its low light. Flames are small. Coals are deep and patient. The scent is wood and ash and winter. The crackle is not loud. The murmur is gentle. The air is warm near the fire. The floor is cool farther away. Straw on the floor softens the step. Rushes and herbs lie underfoot. Sweet scents rise and drift. A hearth is a heart. The home breathes around it. The winter night breathes with it. In one cottage the walls are wattle and daub. Ribs of oak and willow hold a skin of earth and straw. The surface is lime-washed. It is pale in daylight. In the night it is warm with faint color. The roof is thatch, it keeps off the snow. It smells of summer when it rains. It smells of the field when the wind stirs it. But now it is still. Snow rests, and the thatch rests, and the rafters rest. The house holds a slow heat. The hearth is low. A pot hangs from a bar of iron. The iron is dark with years. The pot is dark too. It holds stew and memory and warmth. A woven mat lies by the flames. A child's wool cap lies there too. A pair of mittens. A simple wooden spoon. The spoon is warm where it has been held. The mittens are warm where hands have been. The cap smells of lanolin, faint and clean. The wool is coarse and soft. It is tough and kind to the skin. It keeps heat like a friend keeps a secret. Little things hold winter at bay. Little things keep the night gentle. Beds are ropes and straw. They are pulled tight. The ropes are snug. The straw mattress is filled in autumn. It smells of harvest and field. In some homes the bed is a box with a door. A wooden room within a room. A close place to hold warmth and dreams. Bed curtains fall like quiet water. They keep in breath and heat and sleep. A sheepskin lies at the foot. A coverlet woven in the last long summer lies above. A blanket lies above that. A cloak lies above that when the frost is deep. Layer by layer, warmth builds like a low song. The song is slow. The song is steady. The song is sleep. Some homes share a wall with a byre. Cows breathe in the dark. Their breath is a soft cloud in the cold. It smells of hay and milk and shelter. It warms the air. The beasts stand and shift. They chew and murmur. Their bodies give a quiet heat and a steady calm. The house feels their warmth through wood and stone. The night feels softer for it. In the loft overhead, grain rests under sackcloth. Straw rests under the roof. A cat curls in the straw. It holds its tail over its nose. It makes a small, perfect circle of warmth. It purrs in a whisper. The purr runs through the wooden bones of the house. It is peace. The fire glows. The walls are still. The night is calm. The coals are a field of small suns. A poker shifts them and releases a tiny rush of light. The light touches the ceiling blackened with years of smoke. It touches beams where herbs hang to dry. Sage, thyme, rosemary, sweet woodruff. Lavender from the summer garden. They carry summer scent into the winter air. The night finds them. The night holds them. The house sighs. Cloaks hang near the door. They have touched snow. They have felt sleet and wind. They are heavy with wool and thyme. Some are lined with fleece. Some have a hood that drapes long. Some have a liripipe, a tail that winds around the neck. Hoods keep ears and cheeks safe. Gloves keep fingers safe. Mittens hold all the fingers together so they share their heat. Socks are thick. Foot wraps are folded tight around the ankle and bound with bands. Shoes are oiled and smoked. They keep out wet. They have straw tucked inside for more warmth. At the threshold a broom stands, the bristles are dry. They will brush snow aside when morning comes. But morning is far. Night is here. Night is deep. Night is soft. In the great hall, on the hill above, the night enters by the tall glassless windows, then goes out again as if shy. A big hearth holds a bed of quiet coals. A brazier glows like a small red moon. The hall is vast and shadowed. Tapestries hang thick on the walls. They soften the stone. They hold back the draughts. They tell stories of hunt and field and sky. Their threads are dyed from old plants, madder root and woad, weld and walnut, soft colours in the low light. The hall smells of smoke and beeswax, of wool and old oak, of winter air. The roof is high. Its beams hold soot like a dark snow. The fire glows. The torches are low. The night is gentle, even in stone. The people here wear layered warmth. A linen shift next to the skin, a wool tunic above, hose that hug the legs, a long gown or a kirtle, a surcoat, perhaps fur at the cuff, squirrel for many, marten for some, ermine for a few who live close to power and ceremony. A belt holds a pouch. A small knife rests there. Not to flash, not to strike, but to slice bread, to cut wool, to lift a lid from a hot pot. Boots are lined with felt. The tread is thick. A cloak falls heavy from the shoulder and pools on the bench like a sleeping animal. Hands hold a cup. The cup is clay or wood. It has absorbed years of warmth. It gives warmth back. A cook's fire in a side room gives a different heat. It is busy heat, but even that is slow tonight. A pot of broth leans and hums. Barley swells. Leeks soften. A bone gives its last tenderness to the water. Thyme leans in. Parsley, dried against the darkest days, wakes in the steam. A heel of bread toasts near the coals. The crust smells deep and faintly sweet. Winter stews hold the memory of summer's gardens. They hold the promise of comfort. In a small cup, spice warms wine. Cinnamon curls, ginger glows, clove breathes, nutmeg sighs. For many, such spices are a rare dream. For a few, they are a winter habit. But a heated drink needs no spice to be kind. Ale warmed at the hearth eases the hands and the throat. Mead tastes of summer fields, even in deep snow. Warmth moves from lips to chest. It lingers, it settles. Families gather close, they share a bench, they share heat, they share simple words in soft tones. Then words fade, then only breath remains. The fire does its small work, wool does its honest work. Sleep comes like a friend, careful not to wake the house. In the night, a hand reaches to the bed warmer, a pan that held coals earlier. Now only. Faint heat remains, held by the brass, held by the iron. Sometimes a stone is warmed in the ashes and wrapped in cloth. Set at the feet, it gives a slow, loyal warmth. Curtains breathe in and out. The house breathes in and out. Snow falls thin and steady beyond the wall. The village is a row of quiet lanterns tucked under white. The stars are far and attentive. The night is kind. The morning comes late in winter, but before it there is a ripening of cold in the darkest hours. A shoulder draws nearer the body. A knee finds the sheltered place under layers. Fingers tuck into sleeves. A cap covers ears. A coif ties under a chin. Nightcaps, plain or soft with a little braid, hold the scalp's warmth. It is a tender comfort. The cold of dawn is honest but not cruel. It is a reminder. Old hands know it. Old hands keep a spark in the ash for it. They banked the fire last night with care. A layer of ash over coals keeps their glow. In the half-light, a stir, a gentle stretch, a rationed breath of sharper air. A poker finds embers. Dry kindling touches them. A tiny flame licks and grows. It is patient. It needs only time and breath. Soon it speaks in small sounds. The house warms by the finger width. The day is slow. The day is good. But still, the night lingers at the window. The sky is deep. The last of the stars fades slowly. In high places, castles have winter rooms, a solar smaller than the hall, panels of wood, curtains and cushions, a brazier close by. Hands are warmed over coals, pages bring in logs. They carry ash away. Charcoal burns with a steady, gentler smoke. It is favoured in rooms where soot must not stain the tapestries more than time already has. The brazier's bowl is iron or bronze. The feet are like animals, lions, hearts, a reminder of the wilds turned to warmth. In some lands, tiles wrap a stove. Green tiles, glossy and thick, they hold heat like a hoard. They hold it and give it back, a soft breath hour after hour. A tile stove dries gloves. It dries cloaks. It dries the chill from a room as snow thickens outside. It hums. It holds the night. Monasteries keep winter in quiet order. Stone cloisters enclose a garden at rest. Frost patterns the edges of dry leaves. The pond is slate and glass. The cloister walk is worn smooth by feet and prayer. The bell calls in the dark. Matins is in the deep night. Candle flames hang like small planets in the cold church. Breath rises in pale threads. The chant is low and even. The words are simple. The tone is steady. The air is cold on the face, warm in the mouth, warm in the chest. Wool habits hold close. Cowls come down like soft wings. The calefactory, the warming room, waits for tired hands after the office. A fire glows there. It is a mercy, not an indulgence. It is a place to let numb fingers return, to let a face soften from the wind's touch. Silence is kept, the warmth is shared. In the scriptorium, sometimes there is no fire at all. Ink thickens, fingers move slow. A stone warms in the sleeve. It circles from table to hand, to lap, to table again. A small brazier may be allowed on the worst days. It is kept modest. It is kept safe. The smell of vellum and oak gall and soot is the smell of a winter of work. Pages hold summer's words, winter's hours. The night comes early. Lamps burn oil with a faint, clean scent. Wicks turn to cinder. Wicks are trimmed. Prayer returns. Food is plain and warm, broth, bread, root and grain. The rhythm is the heat. The rhythm is the cloak. The rhythm is the bell in the night. The night is a soft bell, travellers on winter. Roads move with care. Snow gives light to the path even when the moon is hidden. It crunches underfoot. The sound is low and even. Cloaks wrap tight. Hoods come forward. A stick tests the ground. The breath is a small cloud. The world is reduced to what is near and kind. A hedgerow, a gate, a milestone half asleep under drifted white. In the dusk, an inn lamp glows like a low star. Horses snort in the yard. Their bodies are warm in the cold air. Sleek coats steam and cool. Stable heat greets a traveller first, gentle and animal and safe. The smell of hay and leather and grain, the sound of water pouring into a bucket, the wooden thud of a stall door, a pat on a warm neck, a grateful pause, hands against a broad flank, warm palms warming further on a living wall of muscle and breath. Inside, a common room holds a central fire. Benches curve like arms around it. A long table waits with bowls and bread. A boot finds a place near the coals. Steam lifts. Mittens are set on a chair back. Socks dry on a line. An ember pops softly. A fresh log catches and glows. Stew waits. With patience. Pottage thickened with grains. Dried peas cooked to a soft hush. A heel of cheese. A mug of ale warmed until it is kind to cold mouths. Mead sweetly warmed for a feast day. In the corner a bed of straw is clean and deep. A blanket is offered and received with gloved hands. A lantern is lowered. Voices fall. The air grows quiet. The night breathes through the chinks. Snow slides. From the roof in a soft, slow wave. The stars are veiled. The house of the inn holds a steady heart. The night lays its hand over it, and it sleeps. In fields beyond, shepherds keep watch, not loud, not with a shout, with patience, with the slow. skill of knowing wind and sky. A cloak heavy as a promise settles on their shoulders. A hood makes a small world out of dark and breath and wool. A fire on the hill is a low eye, half shut. It eats a few sticks and rests. Sheep huddle close. Their bodies share heat. Their breath makes a gentle cloud. A dog curls tight, nose buried in its tail. A hand rests on a thick ruff. The warmth from fur meets the warmth from glove, and the cold sits back. Stars wheel slowly. The night is wide and soft. Somewhere a bell on a sheep lifts its note and lets it fall. Then the hill is still. In towns, shutters are barred. In richer homes, horn panes let through a softened light. In some places, glass has come to a window or two. It distorts the moon into a tender blur. Tapestries hang heavy. Curtains line the bed. A warming pan makes a slow path under sheets. Feathers whisper. The cold of stone withdraws. Feet find a safe harbor. Hands clasp under the cheek. A good cloak is used as another blanket. Many sleep together to share heat. Friends, siblings, parents and children, grandparents too. Beds hold more than one body. Rugs and furs lie along the edge of the mattress, like little shorelines where cold laps but does not cross. The city's night is not loud. Snow muffles the wheels. Hooves are rare. A watchman passes with a slow step. An iron-shod staff taps the stones in an easy measure. Footsteps fade. The night sinks deeper, like water finding the low places and becoming still. The moon moves and leaves behind a fine frost of light on every stone. The winter diet is slow and sustaining. Bread from rye and barley, dark and calm. Barley pottage. Oat gruel thick with milk when there is milk. Cheese aged in the cool of autumn cellars. Apples shriveled and sweet, baked by the fire until they are soft and warm to the tongue. On feast days, a pie of minced meat and spices. A roast, if the season and fortune allow. Salt preserves and smokehouses have done their patient work. A ham hangs in the rafters. Sausages rest in loops. Fish from river or sea, dried or salted, softened in a pot. Greens are few and precious. Kale from the winter garden, leeks stored under straw. Onions braided and hung. Garlic sweetened by time. Herbs dried to keep a taste of summer. The fire draws out comfort. It draws out gentleness. A wooden bowl warms in the hands. The heat travels in the blood. It reaches fingers. It reaches toes. It settles behind the eyes like a quiet candle. The day passes in a pallid arc, and then the early dusk returns. Children play near the hearth with a length of yarn, a spool, a small wooden animal carved from a scrap. The games are slow and calm. A grandmother mends a sock. Her needle is thin. The wool is thick. The sock grows warm in her lap even before it is worn. A grandfather tends the fire. He knows every sound it makes. He knows when a stick is ready to be turned. He knows when. Ash is right to bank the coals. The air smells of wool and smoke and bread. A dog sleeps and twitches in a dream. A rooster goes early to his perch. The night says hush. The house says hush. A prayer is said without hurry for the safety of the long dark. Then the dark arrives, and it is soft. Stars live behind clouds like lamps behind sheets. The moon finds the edge of a hill and stays there, quiet and pale. The village is a necklace of sleeping rooms. The night is the velvet cloth beneath it. In winter, people make heat with wood, with wool, with food, with closeness, with time. The art is simple and deep. It is not an art of noise. It is an art of patience. The fire is never a roar. It is a companion. It listens. It gives back what is given to it. It asks for care. It likes dry sticks, not too many at once, not too few. It likes to be banked at night with ash. It likes to be stirred in the morning with kind hands. It likes company. It likes a wall behind it, and a pot over it, and a bench beside it, blessed with bodies. Tools help. A trivet to lift a pot above a hot bed of coals, a trammel to raise and lower the pot, a pair of tongs to cradle a coal and place it where it should go. like laying a small jewel in velvet. A bellows that whispers a breath into the heart of the fire when it sleeps too deeply. A spade to move ash, a bucket to carry it to the garden. Ash will sweeten soil when frost withdraws. Fires feed fields in slow time. Winter is always in debt to spring. Spring pays what is owed in green and birdsong, but winter is loved for itself, too. For its hush, for its gentleness, for its clean breath in the night. The castle sleeps, the cottages sleep, the monastery sleeps between night offices, the roads sleep under snow, the forests sleep with their creatures tucked into warm hollows. The ox in his stall sleeps with his chin on his chest. The ewe sleeps, with her lamb pressed to her side. The dog sleeps by the door and dreams of running in summer fields. The cat sleeps in straw that rustles like whispers. The sparrows tuck their heads under wings. The world holds still. The night is a wide, soft blanket. There are more ways to keep warm. Old ways, small ways, clever and kind. A board laid across knees and wrapped with a folded cloth holds the heat of a warmed stone. A footstool with a little brazier underneath warms feet hidden by skirts. A hooded chair makes a private little room of heat around a person's head and shoulders. Screens turn a great hall into little bays of warmer air. A curtain hung from a beam creates a closet of sleep within a room. Doors are curtained too, so the wind must push two things aside. The house learns to hold its heat like a set of cupped hands. Each space cradles the next. Each layer rests upon the last. The body's warmth counts, breath counts, wool counts, patience counts. Fuel is gathered and kept. Stacked wood behind the house, bark outward to shed weather. A cord here, a cord there. Birch for kindling, oak for an even fire, ash for fire that burns even when green. Willow for baskets, but a little for the hearth too. In some places peat is cut and dried and stacked, smelling of earth and the deep bed of old plants. It burns slow and keeps a steadier fire across long hours. In others, coppice wood is harvested in a cycle as old as memory. Poles as thick as a wrist, bundles as big as a man can carry. They dry under an eave, they wait for night. They wait for a day with snow in the air and stillness in the light. The winter sky is a kind teacher. It offers less, and so it invites gentleness. Work takes its turns with rest. The body is wrapped. The mind is soothed by quiet tasks, spinning near the fire, mending a net, sharpening a knife, turning a handle worn smooth by years. The rhythm is slower now. There is no rush. Seeds wait in their sacks, made of woven summer. Tools nap in their corners. The fields wear blankets of white. The branches knit a fine lace against the sky. The air tastes clean. The breath is visible and soft. The heart beats in the same measure as the slow, sure drip from the eaves. The night comes, and the house greets it with a low lamp and a warming. Pot and a bed with curtains that fall like dusk upon dusk. The night stretches its tender length. It covers each roof like a cloak. Festivals come like embers in the long dark. They are not loud. They are warm. Evergreens are carried inside and set in corners, not tall and bright, but true and living. They smell of resin and frost. Red berries gleam under candlelight. A Yule log is drawn to the hearth with ceremony. It is big and patient and meant for many days. It is lit from a saved piece of last year's log, the old giving life to the new. The flame takes, the room glows, faces gather. Then slowly the hours ripple outward and find stillness again. A cup is passed, a loaf is cut and shared, a song is hummed, not bold, not sharp, but low and even. Children drift to sleep by the warmth while the great log breathes out its measured heat. The night bends close, listening and kind. At Christmas, at midwinter, at the turning of the year, warmth is a blessing. Church doors open onto cold air filled with stars. Bells sound across fields that have no voices but nights. Candles line a narrow nave. The light is small and pure. Cloaks are removed inside. Hands grow warm around a shared flame. The Mass is long and steady. The words cradle the time. The cold is kept at the threshold. When people step out again, the cold has turned gentle. The stars feel friendly and near. The road home is a white ribbon. Steps are quiet, and the hush of the night is deep as a quilt. Morning returns with pale light. The frost has drawn flowers. On the glass where there is glass, or on horn where there is horn, or on the oiled paper that filters wind and lets in a softened day. The art is delicate. Leaves and ferns and curling stems. It melts to nothing when a hand warms it. Breath clears. A small circle. An eye peers into winter. Smoke lifts from all the chimneys again. The day begins again. The fire stirs and gives back its old companionship. The house rises and moves. Cold is met with practice and skill. The night waits its turn, and always, always the night returns. It arrives with the softness of wool on skin. It arrives like a settled cat. It arrives like a held hand. The flame falls lower. The pot empties of its stew. The bread is put away. The embers are tucked in. The curtains are closed. The beds welcome. The slow weight of winter bodies. The mind grows quiet. The breath slows. The snow sighs at the window. The stars hum in their distance. The night gathers the village. The night gathers the castle. The night gathers the farms and the hills and the flocks and the fields. The world goes gently. The world goes warm. Beyond the lamplight and the little flames, winter carries on with its quiet work. Edges of ponds are rimmed with ice. Fences wear soft caps of snow. The hedges are drawn with white lines as fine as thread. The smoke from chimneys rises, then spreads, then rests as a light veil over the sleeping roofs. It holds the warmth like a memory. It holds the scent of wood and peat and the long patience of winter days. The wind passes without hurry. It does not press. It does not push. It strokes the corners of houses and finds the knotholes and sighs through them like a lullaby. In the north, longhouses keep their own slow fire. The space is broad and low. The roof is steep and thatched. The ridge breathes out smoke through. A louver. The louver is a wooden eyelid held open to the night. Embers glow along a central strip. They do not flare. They do not waste. They are tended. Benches line the walls with skins and blankets and woven cloth. A loom sleeps in a corner. Warp threads are quiet in the dark. They hum with a memory of hands. A rack holds boots that have traveled snow and frozen soil. They drip and grow dry by slow degrees. The smell is wool and salt and clean smoke. It settles in the hair. It settles in the rafters. It settles in the heart. It is home. Peat blocks lie stacked by the door. They were cut in a warm season. They were dried in wind. They are brown as bread crust and light to lift. When they warm, they give a sweet, earthy scent like rain on soil, like closed summer fields. Their heat is gentle. It lingers. It suits the long night. Birch twigs feed the first bites of flame. Then ashwood holds it steady. Then peat holds it long. A pot sits on a flat stone, not too near, not too far. In it, barley and fish and onions give themselves to comfort. The lid whispers as the steam tries to speak. The house listens. The house nods. The house knows the speech of winter. Wool cloaks hang like sleeping wings. The lanolin softens the fibre. The cloth resists snow. It sheds wet. It keeps air still. A round skin. That still air is a thin blanket that cannot be seen. The body loves it. A felted cap sits on a peg. Felt takes the shape of a head like a memory of touch. Mittens lie near. They hold heat by holding fingers together as if in gentle company. Socks wait on a warm stone. They drink in a small domestic sun. They will be ready when morning asks for them. They will answer calmly. They will answer with warmth. At the edges of field and wood, turf houses hold their slow breath. Their walls are cut from the earth and stacked like cakes of green. In winter they are brown and still and strong. A roof of turf and timber holds snow like a sleeping lamb. Inside, the air is close and kind. The hearth is small but honest. Smoke curls and seeks its way out and leaves softness behind. The bed is a wooden frame. The mattress is straw in a stout cloth case. It is shaken in the morning. It is plumped at night. The sound it makes is like dry rain. A child burrows into it and is still. An elder rests a back sore from seasons. The night wraps around both. The night is equal and quiet. In towns of the Low Countries, in cities of stone and canal, winter has another face, and warmth another craft. Brick chimneys, new to some, rise like steady trees among old roofs. Smoke finds a straight path. Rooms above the ground become kinder. Small stoves appear, iron-bellied and patient. A tile stove in a merchant's room is green and glossy as moss after rain. It keeps a belly of coals. It gives heat back through clay skin, slow and even. A bench is built around it. People sit with their backs warmed, and they read by the light of a horn lantern. Horn panes are thin and flat and milky. They soften the flame, they soften the night. They make a room into a small, gentle world. On the Mediterranean shores, winter is mild, and yet the cold enters the bones when wind comes from the mountains. Stone holds chill as easily as it holds summer's heat. In winter, braziers are the quiet heroes. Iron bowls of coals rest between chairs. A clay brazier sits under a small round table, and a blanket drapes down from the table's rim. Feet slide under the blanket. Knees lean against the table's edge. The warmth rises and gathers under the cloth and warms the people from the toes up. The room smells faintly of olive wood and ash. The air tastes of the sea, even in the deep months. A fig leaf rustles outside in a small wind. A jug of warm wine breathes spice. Silence presses soft against lime-plastered walls. The night comes gently over orange trees and terraces and tiled roofs. The stars pour like salt. In the Alps and in the regions beyond, heavy houses hold warmth close. Wood and stone, thick walls, windows small. The stuba is a snug wooden room. A cachalophon hums as a quiet heart. Its tiles are green, blue, patterned, with leaves and simple shapes. The stove is fed from the next room, so the warmth comes without smoke. Beds are cupboards built into the paneling. Doors close. Sleepers share the air they have warmed. They wake with rosy skin and open the door. The cold of the morning is a surprise that smiles. A mug touches the lips. Milk warmed with honey says hush to the mouth. Outside, the snow is deep and friendly. It holds footprints like promises. The sky is blue like an old song. By night, the snow glows softly. The stars are large. The world is slow. The world is kind. By the sea, fishermen mend nets in rooms that smell of tar and salt. Their hands are rough and sure. They stitch with a patient rhythm. They wear many layers, linen next to skin, wool above that. Oilskin or oiled cloth to turn water, though oil is precious and must be used with care. Boots are stuffed with dried seagrass or straw. The fibers hold warm, still air. Heated stones sit in a bucket near the fire. Hands rest there a moment. Then work goes on. A pot simmers with fish and herbs from a small garden kept in a sheltered corner. Thyme, bay, fennel. The wind sings softly at the shutters. The tide goes out and comes in. The day fades into the tender blue of winter evening. Lamps are lit. The night returns like a returning friend. In the great hall on the ridge, winter routines settle into a long, quiet dance. The floor is strewn with rushes. Clean rushes were brought in at autumn's end. Herbs were mixed in to freshen the air. Meadow sweet, mint. The old layer lies beneath, pressed and dark and rich. It will be changed when the season turns and fields wait for tending. Boots press patterns into it, chairs slide. A dog's paw leaves a story. At the high end of the hall, A canopy softens the cold for the lord and lady, but all share the same. Slow fire. The flames light faces only dimly now. Winter encourages a certain democracy of shadow. All are equally washed in amber and brown and soft red. All are equally invited to draw closer to warmth. Servants move quietly with shovels for the ash, with baskets for logs, with pokers like shepherd's crooks for wandering coals. In the buttery, ale sits cool and clear. A small portion is warmed and carried in mugs that steam. Cheese is sliced with a slow hand. A crust is broken. A roast near the fire is turned. The smoke licks and gives flavor. Drips are caught in a pan and poured back. A boy stands at the ready with a cloth to wipe the board. A girl carries a trencher, its wood faintly warm to the touch from constant company with food. People in the hall keep their cloaks near, folded like sleeping beasts. They are called upon as needed. They answer without complaint. In the chambers beyond, warming stones are wrapped in cloth and placed under covers before a person enters a bed. Later ages may bring the long-handled pan, polished and bright, to fill with coals and pass beneath sheets. But here the stone is enough. It is gentle, it does not scorch. It loses its heat slowly as if reluctant to leave. Beds are made with care, not show. Linen is smooth and cool against the skin. Wool on top is heavy and honest. The faint scent of lanolin, of soap boiled with ashlie, of air-dried cloth fluttering in last summer's wind remains. The room grows still. The candle is snuffed or the wick is pinned in a small lid to damp the flame. The dark comes down like a blessing. The night is a hush and a safekeeping. Monks in a Cistercian house keep their rules in winter without drama. Their church is unheated fearlessly, but not unkindly. Bodies are well covered, cowls are deep, hoods shadow faces in a private kindness. The calefactory is small and revered. Brothers come to it not for luxury, but for the preservation of hands and the continuation of work. A novice learns to balance the discipline of cold with the wisdom of warmth. One must not be proud in the face of frost. One must not take too much. The fire gives what it can. The community gives what it can. The balance is the warmth. The balance is the peace. In their dormitory, blankets are plain. Beds are in rows. Some sleep in their clothes. Some sleep in a night habit. A candle at the end shows the time like a slow river. It burns its measure in hours. The bell rings through the dark. It is not harsh. It is a low, sure sound, like a heartbeat. Steps in. The corridor are soft. Sandals do not slap. Cloth does not rustle loudly. Cold air enters when a door opens and leaves when it closes. Prayer rises like steam from a pot. It fills the space and then dissolves into air. After matins, a monk may warm his fingers a moment at the small blaze. He does not linger. He stands close, then steps back. The fire feels the kindness of this measured approach. It glows at its own pace. The night outside is deep and full of stars, like heads bowed. In villages, the curfew bell calls across roofs and lanes. Couvre-feu, cover the fire. A metal cap or a simple pot lid dampens a flame. Ash slides over it like a blanket. Coals survive beneath. They sleep. They wait for morning. The bells. Sound rolls gently over thatch and timber. It meets the owl's slow flight. It circles the tower and the bare branches. It settles. People hush. Doors are barred lightly, not against fear, against the long draught, against the wandering cold. The village lies like a group of cattle, together and calm, sharing a great ring of warmth without touching. Above, the moon watches with patience. The night keeps a careful house. Warmth is a craft of layers. Clothing, too, is a craft of layers. A linen shirt or shift, clean and kind to skin. Linen breathes, it keeps sweat from wool. It washes well even in cold water. Above it, wool in the weave of season and purpose. A tight weave for wind, a looser weave for soft movement. A gown that wraps and ties, A tunic with long sleeves, hose that bind the legs and keep blood lively, a coif to warm the scalp, a hood that falls to the shoulders and holds the neck in a gentle embrace, a cloak thrown over all, a final word of warmth. Ties keep edges closed, a brooch holds a fold, mittens tuck all the fingers together like old friends. In the deep of winter, a fur lining waits where means allow, squirrel, rabbit, lamb, not a shout of luxury, a quiet kindness against the season. Children are wrapped with care, their cheeks glow, their noses run, they laugh softly, and then they tire, and then they sleep by the hearth under a blanket that has known many winters. Babies ride in slings under cloaks, close to a mother's chest. The mother's warmth is the first and best hearth. Grandfathers lay a hand on a small head and feel the heat like a good coal. Grandmothers cover a sleeping foot that has found its way out from layers. Every small act adds a stitch to the quilt of warmth that covers a village through the long night. Food grows simple and rich in winter. Pottage thickened with grains and beans, onions softened until they are sweet, cabbage that has been salted and kept in a cool place, rinsed and cooked and made friendly again, a hare or a hen stretched, with care to reach many bowls, herbs that kept their voices when dry wake and speak again when moved through steam, bread toasted on a clean stick, cheese warmed so it softens and spreads, milk warmed with a little honey or with ale and spice into a caudle that soothes a throat and a temper, a posset thickened and taken to bed on a cold night, water warmed because warm water isn't kindness in itself. The heat moves inside and sits there like a lamp. The blacksmith shop in winter is a place of slow comfort when the day's work is done. The great forge sleeps like a tame beast. The coals are banked, the iron tools lean where they were left. Hammers are quiet and gleam softly in firelight that is there not for labor, but for life. The anvil holds the day's leftover warmth like a ghost. The floor smells of iron and a little of smoke, of leather from aprons hung on pegs, of charcoal, even when the fire is at rest. Sometimes a neighbor steps in after sunset to borrow a heat for a coal pan. The smith lifts a coal with tongs like a cherry and sets it gently in the pan. The neighbor carries it in dignity and care, a little sun moving through the dark lane. The snow twinkles with tiny sparks of reflection. The night nods and closes around the brief track made by warm feet on cold ground. Millers keep watch over grain, even in winter, when water slows, when wheels turn with long patience. The mill house is chilly, but it is sheltered. A small brazier stands near a bench, hands warm there between checks on the stones. Flour lies in white drifts that mimic the snow outside. It coats hair and lashes and makes a soft dust upon eyebrows. The miller drinks a warm draught and looks through a window where frost flowers have grown and joined hands like dancers. The stream moves beneath a thin lid of ice. The trees lean toward it to listen to the soft talk of water in winter. Night comes. The brazier glows. The wheel's slow turn becomes a drumbeat that the dark hears and accepts. The sky is deep. The stars are grains scattered on a black grinding stone. Travel in snow calls for different wisdom. Sledges slide where wheels would fight. Horses wear bells, not for show, but to let the world know they are coming so roads can be shared in quiet courtesy. The bells are small. Their sound is soft, like a cat's purr. Straps are padded, lest they bite. Blankets are thick. Drivers wear cloaks that shed the small crystals that gather on shoulders like friendly guests. In the cart, straw is piled deep. It holds warmth like summer caught and kept. Feet burrow, hands burrow. Laughter is steam, and so are stories told without voice, told by the rhythm of breath. An inn's yard glows ahead. A lantern swings on its hook and shows the curve of a roof with thick snow as white as fleece. Doors open, heat breathes out, the sledge glides into comfort. The night waits outside, patient and content, while people warm within. Bathing in winter is a special gentleness. A bathhouse in a town offers hot water from a great copper. Steam curls like ribbons. Wooden tubs hug bodies. The water smells faintly. Of herbs, a bundle of leafy twigs is used to bring blood to the surface in a friendly ritual. Skin glows. Voices are low. The door opens and closes and lets a slice of night in and out. But inside, the warmth holds a small summer. After people wrap in linen and wool, they step out into air that is cool and clean, and the cold feels like a sweet fruit that refreshes. At home, a smaller bath is had with care, a kettle is heated, water is carried, a tub is set near the hearth. The ritual is patient. It takes time, the fire shares its strength, the water shares its comfort. The night looks in, then turns its kind face away to give privacy to the warmth. In fields and folds, animals give their own heat to the winter world. Cows stand together and make a shared cloud of breath. Their flanks are warm. Their eyes are calm. Sheep huddle and are safe. The stable is a sweet place, soft with hay and the rich smell of grain, of clean manure, of wood that has absorbed these scents and made them soft instead of sharp. People go there for warmth and company when the wind speaks too much at the door. A hand on a beast's side says thank you without words. The beast feels the thanks and chews and breathes and stands still. The lamp hangs from a beam and throws a ring of gold on the packed earth. Cats blink in the straw. Mice keep to the far corners. Dogs curl by the entrance and watch all with a steady eye that is also a sleepy eye. Night lies across the barn roof like another roof. Snow falls like hush falling. The world beneath is at peace. Towns hold guilds and trades that keep winter livable. Fullers of cloth soften and thicken wool to make it warmer and closer woven, beaten in troughs with wooden hammers that rhythm gently in the day and rest at night. Dyers boil vats of colour and hang cloth in cool air. The steam is coloured, like breath made of flowers. Glovers stitch fine leather and thick mittens. They line them with fur in the deeper time of cold. Tailors cut warm shapes from cloth laid out on broad tables. They sew with even small stitches. They run skeins of thread through beeswax to make them smooth and strong. Chandlers pour tallow, roll wax, tend wicks. Candles will burn like small usable suns in rooms where the fire cannot go. All these works carry warmth, not as heat alone, but as comfort, as presence. When night comes, shutters close. The guild halls go dark one by one, like stars in reverse. Then the real stars wake above, patient and gentle. The night breathes over roofs and lanes, over bridges and water, over walls and towers, and all is still. In the countryside, a bread oven holds warmth like a small earth. It is a dome of clay and stone. It is fired with an armful of sticks. The heat soaks into its thick skin. The embers are raked out. The floor glows faintly. Loaves slide in and the door is closed. The bread cradles the heat and turns it into a tender crumb. When the loaves come out, they crackle as they cool. The sound is subtle. The sound is alive. A hand placed against a loaf feels a slow, burning heart. Bread carries its own winter fire. It is wrapped in cloth to keep its spirit soft. It is set near the hearth, to be a companion to the family. When the bread oven gives up the last of its warmth, someone slips in a pan of apples or a tray of beans to take what remains. Nothing is wasted. Warmth is shared. Night arrives and finds bread on the table and peace in the house. Fields sleep under white covers stitched by wind. Under the coverlets, seeds dream, roots rest. Moles make tunnels like little corridors for future water and air. The farmer's tools rest too. The metal is oiled, the wood is rubbed with fat. They lean against a wall in profiles known as well as a friend's face. Winter teaches that rest is an act, not an absence. Rest is a way of keeping warm. In the long dark, people tell slow stories of summers, of winters, of faces they loved. They do not hurry to the end. They repeat details like warm hands turned over and over near a fire. The repetition is part of the heat. The night approves. The night adds stars to the end of the story, and the story drifts into sleep. Candles burn with small tongues. Rushlights glow with a more humble courage. A rush pith dried and dipped in tallow, held in an iron clip, lit for a task or a moment, or a prayer. They flare, then settle. They live briefly and kindly. In houses where beeswax is kept for church and for special days, tallow is the long candle of winter. Its scent is animal and plain. It holds the memory of fields in the bodies of creatures, now given back to light. Beeswax smells of summer and meadow and the labor of a different world. It is sweeter. It burns clean. In a poor cottage, a single flame is enough. More would be a noise, less would be unhappiness. The flame, small as it is, makes an island. It is enough. It shows a circle of faces, it shows a bowl, it shows a hand. Beyond that circle, the night comes near and lays down, and becomes a blanket. Seasons shape practices. In autumn, fuel is gathered in a rhythm that becomes a song. Sticks are bundled, logs are split. The end grain shows rings like years on a tree, like ripples on a pond. Stacks are made close to the wall, covered to shed rain, set up to catch the drying wind. A child learns to carry one stick more each week. A parent watches and smiles without. Words. The stores fill. The heart fills. Winter does not surprise. Winter is a guest invited and well treated. In spring, ashes are carried to the garden in baskets that leak powder and leave a grey trail. The soil receives this gift and becomes sweet. Peas appreciate it. Beans appreciate it. The circle closes and opens and closes again. In summer, the fire is smaller. It is moved outside to a little hearth under a sky the color of water. In winter, the fire returns to the center. The house returns to itself. The night deepens. The night is kind. Along the eastern plains, big masonry ovens are the warm centers of smaller houses. They are built of brick and clay. They take a day to heat. They give heat back all night. People sleep on platforms above them and against them. The warmth moves through the bricks and into backs and shoulders and into the very dreams. Children clamber up with soft socks and a careful hand on the edge. They lie down and sigh. Old bones ease. Bread bakes in the belly. Porridge sits in a pot with its lid on and wakes in the morning as a gentle, pale comfort. Snow piles like mountains around the corners. Wind whittles drifts into smooth lambs that lie down and do not move. The oven glows invisibly. Its heat is quiet. Its heat is faithful. The night outside feels far and beautiful. The night inside feels close and beloved. On islands where wood is scarce, driftwood is stored like treasure. It is scrubbed by salt and sun. It is dry at heart, even if wet at skin. People gather seaweed and dry it and burn it for a cooking heat that is quick but useful. In some places, turf and gorse and heather feed small hearths. In some places, oil from fish and seals gives a lamp, a glowing eye in the home that watches. Kindly through long nights. The smell is strong but not unkind. To those who have known it since birth, it says safety. It says family. It says we are inside, and winter is outside, and the world is as it should be. In forests, charcoal burners tend their clamps. Even in winter, ember mounds smoke gently under turfs and sods. Charcoal is made so that smiths may make, so that cooks may cook without smoke in close rooms, so that stoves may burn in still air. The making is a slow art. The tending is continuous. A man wrapped in a cloak watches the hill of earth and listens for the small language of the smolder. He feels whether the air is right. He adds a breath here, a closure there. He eats warm food from a pot and drinks warm drink from a cup. He sleeps in a hut that is cone-shaped like a fairy tale. It is neat and small and lined with bark. His bed is straw. His blankets are heavy. His dreams are slow and low. The night is friendly to him. He is friendly to the night. The year turns many times. Warmth and winter learn many forms. Stone castles with narrow windows and deep walls hold. Their warmth like monks hold their silence. Timber-framed houses flex and creak and murmur in the wind and let heat move like a spirit through rooms. In the later centuries of the Middle Ages, chimneys become more common. Soot goes where it should go. Smoke finds a sure path. Upper rooms can be used even on cold nights. Lintels are carved with simple patterns where smoke once stained them. Now they hold only time, not soot. People climb stairs in wool slippers and find beds that are warmer because the room is warmer. Yet the basics remain. A fire, a cloak, a bowl, a bed, a family. The respect for the small instruments of warmth remains. It is a gentle and steady wisdom. Festivals continue to be small islands of bright warmth in the dark season. Between them, daily warmth is a series of small acts done with love. The hearth is swept. The iron ring on the crane is turned. The pot is lifted and stirred. The spoon rests in its notch. A cloth is folded from the outside in, edges carefully aligned. A cap is set on a peg just so. Boots are turned to the wall like sleeping faces turned away to rest. The door is latched. An extra log is added for a longer sleep. The cat is let in. The dog is told to hush by a hand on the head. The last candle is pinched out with a wetted finger and thumb. The finger licks its tiny warmth and keeps it. The bed receives the body. The coverings receive breath. The night receives the house. The stars receive the world. More places, more ways. In marshlands, houses stand on posts. The cold rises from water like a second sky. Floors are covered with thick mats and skins to hold back the touch of the damp. Fires are built in shallow stone basins filled with sand. The sand holds heat and keeps sparks from wood. A kettle sings with a small voice. People wrap their feet in bands of wool, wound from toes to calves. Laces keep them snug. The bindings are a language, a craft, a comfort. Outside, reeds whisper even in the lightest wind. Birds sleep with their heads under wings. The night moves like slow water. The homes sit like boats in a gentle harbor of winter. In mountain monasteries, ice crystals creep like stars across the window edges. The glass is thick and wavy. It is a rare and precious barrier. The cloister garden is white and still. In the chapter house, brothers sit close and share. A brazier placed at the center. They do not gossip, they do not compare. They share warmth and intent. The scriptures are more slowly turned in winter, not from laziness, but from reverence for cold hands. A scribe warms his pen between palms. He scratches a line, then pauses and breathes upon his fingers and his work. The letters look like tiny flames in their black freshness. The vellum is smooth and cool. The quill's tip is sharp but kind. Outside, the night lays its calm face against the walls and listens to the quiet of reading. In cities, narrow alleys become sheltered canyons. The wind is slowed by the close-built houses. Smells of wood smoke and cooking gather and mingle. In some quarters, public hearths are maintained as acts of charity. A stone ring, a steady fire. People bring pots and set them at the edge with patient courtesy. A watchman tends the coals, so no one is burned, so everyone is helped. He warms his hands as he warms his watch. He rubs his palms and breathes into them and thinks of the first day of spring, but he is content with the last day of winter too, because it is honest and not cruel. Snow falls daintily. The city takes it lightly. It drifts in corners. It dusts hats. It softens gutters. Night makes lanterns shine like moons caught at street level, and their light is amber and low and kind. People keep a small key to warmth in their bodies. They move a little. They breathe deep. They do not sit stiff until cold goes into the bones. They rise and stretch slowly, and then they sit again, and their blood carries heat like a river carries driftwood from place to place. They learn which corner holds a draught. They learn which chair is best by which fire. They learn the lines of their homes as blind people learn their rooms with touch, with memory, with love. They teach children not to waste heat like they teach them not to waste bread. They teach them to share both. The children learn, and the winter is easier. The night is softer. The stars are nearer. Clothing carries small libraries of warmth lessons. Hems are weighted to hold down skirts and keep wind from climbing. Collars are cut to wrap the neck softly. Laces cross in ways that draw fabric close without pinching. Thin caps under thick hoods keep ears and the tender place behind them safe. Wool is spun with more twist for sturdy outer layers, with less twist for soft inner ones. Some cloth is fulled until it rejects wind like a polite refusal. Some is left looser to breathe. Fur is trimmed tight to sit without bulk. Footwear is greased with tallow or oil. Feet are dried carefully every night. Feet carry people through winter. They are salved. They are massaged. They are thanked. Socks are repaired as soon as a hole appears, not after. Needles are never idle. Warmth is a fabric woven from 1,000 small threads of care. Along trade roads that sleep under snow like long white snakes, caravans rest at hospices set on high passes. Stone shelters, thick-walled, low-roofed, kept by communities that give warming drink to travelers and a place near the hearth. Sleep comes to people weary from wind. They lie side by side on platforms with straw pallets and blankets. They dream of their own beds farther down the mountain, but they are grateful. The hospice keeps a record of names. It keeps a pile of dry wood even when dry wood is scarce. It keeps a pot that is always on, a soup that is never done, only extended and deepened. Through the night, the wind scrapes snow along the stones like a polite broom. The stars seem to touch the roof. Inside, the fire is a low, red sea. People are safe. The night is kind. When morning returns, frost makes lace at the edges of everything. The sun pulls a blue edge from the snow like a seam. Boots are coughed warm by the fire and then laced. A cloak goes over shoulders that have learned to accept weight as comfort. A hood is pulled up. The door opens. The first breath of outside is taken. It is a clean taste. It is a good taste. It wakes the skin without rushing the heart. A person steps out, and the door is closed, and the house keeps its heat for those still inside. The path shows tracks from last night. They are crisp. A new set of tracks is laid beside them. Life moves gently. Smoke lifts. The sun leans low. Distant bells give the time in slow notes. Shadows lie long like the backs of resting animals. The day is short, but it is enough. The night is waiting, but it is friendly. Late in the season, when stores are lower and patience is longer, the art of warmth becomes even more tender. A smaller log suffices. A thicker stew suffices. Blanket layers rearrange for novelty and better effect. One cloak on top, one below. A rug over bedboards. A spare shawl around the shoulders under a heavier one. Corners are tucked. Drafts are choked with bundles of cloth and love. People laugh softly that they look like winter hares, bundled and blinking. They do not mind. They are warm. They are together. They share a mug. They share a story. The story carries them softly towards sleep. The fire ticks. The clock, if there is a clock, makes a faint, even sound like a heart. The night gathers them and holds them. Spring is on the far edge of the calendar, and still winter gives more of itself. In that giving, people learn gratitude. The gratitude warms too. They thank the trees for their wood. They thank the fields for their straw. They thank the sheep for their wool. They thank the fire for its patience. They thank the night for its softness. They thank one another for hands and eyes and quiet care. The thanks becomes a warm garment worn under clothes where no one can see it. It shows in the way people move, in the way they open and close doors, in the way they share what can be shared. The winter answers with a softer wind. It answers with a day of sun that brings water music from eaves. The night that follows is full of stars that tremble with a hint of thaw. The village sleeps and the castle sleeps and the monastery sleeps. The roads sleep. The flocks sleep. The world lies down in its white cloak and breathes slow and deep. The night is kind, the night is calm, the night is vast and very gentle.